What's up, guys? Welcome to the Godfather Saga number 58. So I wanted to go ahead and make this episode on continuing on answering the questions that I received from a Facebook post that I put out. I want to say a couple months now. I've been really kind of slow getting these videos out, so I apologize for that. So today's question comes from Mario, and Mario basically asks, honestly, like always, about life mistakes. What has changed you to see them? Explain the process which stands behind Jeff we see today. Sorry for asking not an easy question, but I believe it will expand your legacy. I don't know if I have a legacy or if you want to, put me in legend status. I think it's just the fact that I'm older and I've been in this sport a very long time. So I think basically, as far as life mistakes or even mistakes I've made in the sport, um, it's not that I can, like, back when I was younger, I didn't see the mistakes that were going on. Like, at the time, I think when I first started training, I was like 14 years old, and as you can imagine, once I started training and I started making very good progress early on, like, I almost looked like a man child by the time I was 17. I made tremendous progress. I was bench pressing 300 pounds by the time I was a senior in high school, and the most I did was, no, junior in high school I was benching 300, and then senior in high school I was benching 330 pounds at a body weight of 165. So I had like 2 times body weight bench press, and you can imagine a 17-year-old bench pressing twice his body weight with a good build. Like, I was pretty well developed, at least in the upper body. I didn't train legs because basically I was all ego and wanted them, the ego muscles. But yeah, I just developed definitely a strong confidence, but also a very big ego, like, to the point where, if someone were to try to tell me something, actually my parents, relatives, and other people around me, when they did give me advice, I didn't really listen, or I wasn't open to listening, and basically because I thought I knew it all, because I had this just gigantic ego at that time, and that continued on for a while. And I think basically because of that, being stubborn, having that ego, thinking I knew everything, that it put a block on my ability to learn and to grow as a person. So all through my 20s, you could say that I was pretty egotistical, and I made a lot of mistakes both in and out of the gym, and I was basically really self-centered, um, egotistical, selfish, just a lot of traits. Like, when I look back at some of the photos of when I was in my teens and 20s, just really, I look at that and go, yeah, okay, yeah, the physique looks pretty good, but that person, the person inside that body, I am not a fan of. So basically, you know, you could imagine how many mistakes I was making, and so I couldn't see potential mistakes because of the ego, but also when I was making these mistakes, I couldn't really understand why, or didn't choose to understand why, because I was just so self-centered and egotistical that Jeff is always right, and no matter if I'm right or wrong, I'm just right. So to me, when I look back at myself in my 20s, I'm just really not too proud of who I was back then. So as I got into my 30s, I started to not be as egotistical. I started to let go. I started maturing, basically, maturing more, and then we could fast forward to probably my late 30s when I started prepping again for shows in 2009, because I had take kind of like a hiatus from 2006 to 2009. Up until 2006, it was my way or the highway, basically. And again, I was still making a lot of mistakes, not just like I said, not just with you know how I was preparing for shows, how I was involved in the sport of natural bodybuilding, the way I trained and all that, because it was very still much set on, okay, my way of training is the right way. And and like I remember just talking to other people, like when I was working at the auto plant, like, this is how you should train, and if you're gonna train in this way, it's wrong. So and that was like, I was training a lot of high intensity training back then, like Mincer and Dorian Yates, but we'll save that for another video. But it's just basically up until my late 30s, you could say, just because of the ego, um, it just really it just I couldn't really decipher what the hell I was doing. So basically, once I started preparing in 2009, my mindset was changing a lot. It was shifting. It was, I'm gonna do this sport with an open mind, more of an open mind. I was still a little bit clouded, but it was more like, okay, I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna go compete, but I'm gonna really just do this for fun, meet new people, and really just try to embrace the sport from a different perspective. One of having fun and enjoying other people, which before it was just all about competing. And I wasn't there to make friends. I was there to get a pro card or whatever. And 2009, it was total opposite. It was like, okay, let me have an open mind. I really want to started my blog for the website. I wanted to use that to help people, like show people my experiences. And basically, once I met the other guys at 3D Muscle Journey, Eric, Berto, Brad. I met Brad a couple years back, but we didn't really keep in contact. But once we formed 3D Muscle Journey, the team, because it was my website prior, just showcasing my prep. Um, I basically allowed my mind to open up to these guys, to their ideas, to their approaches, to their philosophies, and I learned a lot, as you can imagine, from them. I learned a lot about, okay, different ways of training, different ways of doing a diet, but basically they taught me how to open up my mind and really show my emotions, like all my emotions, and to know that it's okay, that if you're not right about something, it's okay. That you can learn to um, use new ideas, new philosophies, new approaches, new methods. So basically, the ego kind of shifted away, and I started becoming more humble. And once I became more humble, it's like I could see things a lot more clearly. Like, it allowed me to see things from different perspectives. Where prior to meeting these guys, it was always like my way. I had to do things my way, and my way is the right way, and it became like a defense mechanism as well. So if other people, prior to meeting my teammates, before, it's like, hey Jeff, you should train this way, or hey, what about this? And it'd always be like, no, 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 that's not right. So it was like a defense mechanism, and I think that's a lot what we see in the fitness industry is people trying to defend their ideas, their beliefs, and I think that's why we have so much debating going on in the fitness industry. So yeah, so once I met these guys, my mind just opened up a lot, and it just, like I said, it's just a cloud, kind of been, just the clouds are gone, and now I can kind of see things from different perspectives. And again, I think a lot of it too is a maturing process. I've gotten older, so it's kind of helped me out a lot. And I just had a Skype session a couple weeks back with a younger guy, 18, 19 years old, and I see a lot of traits that I had back in this when I was his age. The ego and all that getting kind of like clouding things. So again, I think it's huge to not let the ego cloud your mind, because it can really skew your way of thinking and looking at things from not just one perspective, but from a few perspectives, and that really kind of helps you grow as an individual. And now I'm still, like, even at 44, there's still things that I do that I'm making mistakes. Like, we're human, we're never going to be perfect, we're always going to make mistakes. But again, with me not having that ego now, I could see clearly when I do make a mistake. I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have did that, and how can I correct that? Maybe from do it a different way, or do something so it prevents it the next time. So, and yeah, and I also have people around me that can tell me, hey Jeff, probably shouldn't have did that, or hey, you need to probably basically do this or do that, or not do this or do that. And we basically, as of late, I've been having a hard time kind of, it's like the motivation hasn't really been there as of late, as far as like social media, like putting myself out there as much as I've like used to be. And I kind of was down on myself because I'm like, I'm the old guy, how do I relate to the younger generation? And um, it was almost like I was like whan about it. And basically Alberto said, Jeff, I don't want to ever hear you say you're old again. Basically, they don't look at you like that. You're making yourself feel that way. You need to stop, and it's up to you to change it. And when he said that, a little part of me was like, I was like a little bit defensive, but then I realized he was right, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to change that. So it's another reason why I'm like, here I am making a video, putting myself out there, trying to help everybody as much as I can. And so yeah, so I still, even now, still making mistakes, but because I'm more open-minded, um, it allows me to grow as a person and to get better. So hopefully, I don't want to take up too much rambling time here. Kind of looking at the question again. Hopefully that um, it helps out a lot. So it's not that life mistakes, I've seen them all along. It's the fact that I haven't, and I continue to make life mistakes in the gym and out of the gym. I'm still making mistakes, but because of my open mindedness now, being a lot more humble than I was in my teens and 20s, I've thrived and grown not only as a bodybuilder, as a person, a lot more. And the progress I've made, not just with um, bodybuilding, because over the last 5 or 6 years, I've grown tremendously as an athlete. I went from 2009, I was 160 pounds on stage, won a couple of pro cards. I was okay. But now, 5, 6 years later, now I'm on the world stage and I'm competing at 170 pounds. And a lot of that is because of keeping an open mind, being humble, learning new methods, new approaches, and really rolling with new things versus like being stubborn with what I was doing in the past, being egotistical. And also life. I mean, prior to 2010, my life at that point was not in a good spot. A rocky marriage, lost my job, just basically in the worst time of my life. And then after that, life has changed dramatically. Obviously, you guys see, I'm happily married again. I have a beautiful family, and a lot of that has to do with the way I kind of think about things, all because I have more of an open mind, I'm more humble, and I have a great supporting team around me. And the guys here really have helped me to grow as a person, and that's helped me to become a better, family man, father, partner, etc. So hopefully that answers everything. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys, and I'll continue doing this because it's definitely something I want to do, is help more people out there. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next episode.